Hello everyone, hope everyone's doing great today and appreciate those who be watching this video. I actually combed my hair today, which is an unusual feat. The last few videos I haven't. Sometimes that can be a chore, but hey, you're not here to hear me talk about my hair. Let's talk about today's show, movie All Quiet on the Western Front. It is a German movie. You can find it on Netflix, and it was directed by a guy named Edward Berger. And this was interesting to me because usually when being from the United States, when I watch these World War movies, it's always from the American perspective. So, like, the Germans are always these evil people, you know, scumbags type thing. So it was nice to watch a World War movie from the German perspective. And this did cover World War I. And basically what this movie is about is it's about a young man. Like it says in the description, if you see it, about a young man. I guess he's around 17, 18 years old. He's all excited to go to war, to fight for his country, for the fatherland, they call it. And when he gets to the front lines, right away he realizes that the war isn't this glorious thing that he had pictured in his mind. It's actually this horrific event. And this movie really dives into this right from the very beginning. We follow this unknown soldier. Well, it's not unknown. I guess his name's Heinrich. But we follow this young soldier who you think at the first is going to be like your main character. We follow him into this battle and how horrific it is as they're trying to charge into these machine guns firing at him, and like everybody around him is dying. And the last thing we see of him is he's taking like a hatchet and fighting somebody, and then the screen kind of goes black. Next thing we know, we see a bunch of dead bodies, and he happens to be one of them. And we see them like stripping off their coats, and then they're putting the bodies in these caskets, and they're taking these coats, putting them in a bag. And then we see them, next time we know, we see these big old bags arrive at a big laundromat-like place, and like you see these people washing these coats, getting all the blood and mud off all of them. And then from there we see that they go to a big factory where these women are behind sewing machines, and they're sewing up the bullet holes and stuff to make the jackets look new again. And then finally we're introduced to our main character and his friends that are all excited to go to war. His parents don't want him to go to war, but, he feels like it's a patriarchal duty to do this. And he's all excited, so he's all in line, and he gave him the jacket. And, he's getting ready to walk away, but he notices there's a name on it, and he goes back and to the person say, hey, this is somebody else's jacket, and they rip off the name tag. It's the same name, the guy who we just saw get killed like 5 minutes ago. And so really saw like the process on how a lot of these military leaders, I guess, didn't really see these people, sees their soldiers as, humans. They saw them as people out there just to throw them out there to try to win them a war. They didn't really, I don't want to say didn't really care about them, but, there's just people to be sacrificed for the for the country. It's kind of how you get this perception throughout this movie, is that you get to see the military. It does show the lives of the soldiers on the field and how they differentiate from the leaders of the country and those who are making these decisions. So you get to see this contrast, is how, the soldiers are scrounging around for like their food or going hungry. And then they'll show the leaders, and they're like living these luxurious lives. And you do get like a glimpse of what it was like to live in these trenches during World War I, which it was not fun. It didn't look like it would be fun at all whatsoever. Like horrific. They made war what it is, like a horrific event that you do not want to be a part of and to fight in. And you really get that glimpse in this movie, just how bad and how much these soldiers during that time, and I imagine it'll be something similar today, just how awful their lives were as they're trying to fight for their country and just survive. So yeah, it really does bring that to life. You get to see how like the first tanks were during World War I, like their purpose and stuff. So you get to see like some of the fighting tactics that each side used. You have like they use a poisonous gas, flame flamethrowers and stuff like that. So it really brings that to life, and gets you where you really feel for these people. Like you really can get behind these soldiers that they're covering. Even being like, you know, from America, you still feel for these German soldiers, you know, because even though they were the enemies, they're still people, right? And they really bring like their lives to it, and like the reasoning, and you really humanizes them, and how they're just trying to survive and fighting for each other as well for their country. Let's see, where else I want to go. This movie does some of the negatives, I guess. It does have your typical war movie cliches. Is that cliches? Where, you know, this guy talks about, you know, my family and what I'm going to do after the war, you know, give you all these death signals like, oh, this guy's going to die. You know, you do got that typical stuff in this movie. That's not bad. And you do got, like, you don't really have, like, heroes and villains. Like, they don't really villainify the French that much. They do seem like the French does use, in this movie, dirtier tactics than the Germans, you know. They're the ones who are like poisoning people and using flamethrowers, and you see there are scenes where you have German soldiers trying to surrender, but you know the French don't care to shoot them even though they're clearly given up. But you do see that kind of on the other side too, of the Germans shooting unarmed Frenchmen and stuff. So it does kind of play that balance. The real villains in this, I mean, there's two characters they're absolutely gonna hate. Is the general of the army that are the main characters under. He's just a scumbag of a character, and I don't know very much about World War I or how like it ended, like the final minutes of the war, but if it ended like this, that general was a complete scumbag, and I don't know. I just hope he was a character that they kind of, if he did exist, they kind of just exaggerated his tactics, because what he does at the end of the movie is just despicable. There's another character, he's on the end of this movie for like 5 minutes. He's a redhead guy, doesn't even have a name, but man, you'll not like him either. At least I didn't. I thought, because he's a coward, and just, you know, what happens at the end, it's all because, well, you just have to see it. But yeah, so those are the two people you probably hate the most. You'll love all the other characters. One thing you kind of, see, what else I want to go for? So the movie does like start off like a year, I think like a year and a half into the war, and then it skips ahead to like the last days of the war. And the majority of the movie takes place in the last like week, I'm going to say a week of the war, and up to like the final minute of the war, when it finally ends for good. So that's kind of like your time period, that's in this movie. Some things, you know, you can kind of see here is like, one thing, you know, if you're winning a war is based on how good you're eating. And you see here, like at the end, these German soldiers are stealing food from farmers and stuff like that, and they're really not really having a really good diet there at the end. But yeah, I think this movie really does do a great job of capturing what a soldier's life would be like in World War I, in the trenches. Then wants to go and try to cross, you know, that desert, not a desert, but you know, that forbearing field there that's just like bombed, shelled everywhere, no trees, no life. You know, you're just trying to go from one trench and they're trying to make it to the other side. Like the horrific and how scary that would be. I think this movie does a great job at capturing that. I don't want to say I enjoyed it because of being kind of sick enjoying what's going on the screen, but it did. I think it really did bring to life World War I. So if you're new to the channel, thank you for hanging around for 9.5 to 10 minutes. Appreciate that, and hit your like button and subscribe. But if you're new to the channel, which probably all of you will be, because you only got like 20-some subscribers, get about 5 views. But I grade these movies and books off of 3 criteria. One is highly recommend, which majority of people will like. Just recommend, you know, 50-50, and then recommend with caution is like hardly anybody will like it, so it's kind of like the thumbs down part. I'm gonna recommend this, highly recommend this one. I really believe like if you're a war buff, I think you will like it. If you're you love these war movies, I think you will enjoy this movie tremendously. It does capture the life. You get behind these soldiers. Like I said, it does have one of those cliches where you know who's gonna die at the end and stuff like that, and how. But I think it will enlighten you a little bit on what World War I was like, and kind of like a little bit what the Germans' thought process was there at the end when they went for peace. They do have your villains. The general you'll absolutely hate. He's one of those guys who like he wants to live for war. His whole life is based on war. He finds his if it wasn't for war, he has nothing to live for kind of thing. Everything's about war, and he keeps on pushing these battles to the very end. And like I said, you'll really hate him at the end. He's very despicable at the end. However, I think that's all I really have to say about this. Hope you enjoyed this video. Have a great day, and I'll see you or talk to you Monday. Bye-bye.